Welcome to a brand new video. Today we're talking about housing data and how you can use it to negotiate for you, whether you're buying a house or you're a realtor representing multiple clients and you want access to real data that's going to help you represent them to the best of your ability, or you're just curious about different cities, you want to know what's happening in the city where you are buying a home. This is the platform for you. So if you're new to the channel, my name's Ian Phillips. I'm a realtor in Southern California. I developed this platform called themarketvector.com. Essentially, it tracks 190 cities across Southern California in 5 different counties, and it basically gives you every single housing data point that you can think of. I started tracking foreclosures as well last month, so that is already implemented. Now, in this video, I want to talk about how you can use data to negotiate for you. And I want to give a real life example that I used actually this platform and a market update to send to the listing agent when I was representing a buyer. So first off, navigating this platform, as you can see, it labels all the cities, high demand, balance, low demand. So if we go to Irvine, for example, which is a low demand market, we can see that it gives you all the housing data. So you just click on the cities. It talks about school performance, violent crime rates, economic indicators, a ton of different housing data that you can use to your advantage. Also, you have investor activity, cash purchases. 30% of this market is having price cuts. So all of this can really just boost your arsenal when you're negotiating or when you're going in to write an offer on a property that's maybe been on the market for a month or maybe hasn't even been on the market for 2 weeks. You'll know using this platform what is exactly going on. And later in the video, like I mentioned, I will talk about a real life example that I actually sent a market update to the listing agent and informed them why our offer was coming in where it was. So first off, the housing data that you can use. Let's go Mission Viejo, for example, because this is the city where I actually wrote the offer on representing buyers and ended up closing escrow about 30 days ago. So here we can see that the median sales price is up 3% year over year. Active listings are basically flat. They're only down 1%. Pending sales or demand is down 36% year over year. Now, keep in mind, pending sales is pretty normal to go down as we approach the second half of the year. That's kind of when buyers take a step back from the market and there's just less activity overall. Days on market, on average, is taking 27 days for a home to get into escrow. And the number of homes sold, which right now is more important than pending sales, or I guess overall it's generally more important than pending sales, because these are actually, the closed sales that are happening in this market. And it's really important to determine how much different is homes sold versus active listings over a year-to-year basis, and as well as month-to-month. And by the way, I update this platform every single month so we can really see what the trend is, what trends are happening in every market. And the market updates that get sent out automatically when I update the platform, it talks about what changed from the previous month, and it gives you all 5 years of recent data so you can kind of see what the trends are with that. But anyway, so Mission Viejo, we see that more homes have been purchased in the last year. Homes sold have increased compared to active listings, which have actually decreased. And this is pretty important, because if we see inventory declining even slightly, but the number of homes being purchased are actually increasing by a pretty decent amount, we can see that homes sold has increased by 7%. This is a market that is probably a good idea to purchase. You want to see number of buyers outpacing available inventory, because that kind of tells you that prices are probably going to appreciate in the near future. So we did establish this market as an area where they would want to buy for a potential appreciation. And when you look at the market health, you can see demand rate is extremely high at 45%. So that means 45% of all homes that hit the market are getting purchased. And then month supply of inventory is very low at 2.2 months. So all of this together kind of And investor purchases, by the way, being at, so there's 1.55, meaning there are 55% more investors purchasing homes compared to the ones that are selling. So all of these metrics together, and foreclosures, there's no foreclosures here. You want to see if foreclosures are increasing and if there are even foreclosures happening in the market. So all of this data together pointed out that this was a good place to be buying a home. So the next step was to uh, find a home that we thought we could get a deal on. And the way you find that is, you see days on market is 27 on average for a home to get into escrow. So really anything above that more than likely is going to sell for below list price. And that's exactly what we found. We found a home that was on the market for 33 days. They absolutely loved it. Listed for $2.2 million. And very quickly, we wrote an offer for $2.1 million. Now, I don't know if this was an error in communication with the listing agent or the seller, but the sellers were actually anticipating their home to sell for above list price. And it's already on the market for over the average days on market. So of course, we were not going to write list price or even above it. And the listing agent had informed me that the average days on market for a home to get into escrow in Mission Viejo was 90 days. So they're happy waiting until we get closer to that average before dropping the price. But I actually sent them this market update and I said, I don't know where you're getting your information from, but on average, it's taking 27 days for a home to get into escrow in Mission Viejo. So you are already above that. And waiting 90 days just doesn't make any sense to me. So what I've found after creating this platform is that there is really a lack of availability for data in Southern California. And a lot of people are looking at, websites like Zillow and Redfin. They don't track it correctly. All of this comes directly from the MLS. So this is 100% accurate information across all of these cities. So anyway, we wrote an offer for $2.1 million. They didn't want to counter. They didn't even want to consider that offer. We were $100,000 below list price. And after multiple days of negotiating with this listing agent, sending them, the market report that I created, we got a counter for $50,000 below list price. And for my buyers, that was incredible. They were okay paying list price because they love the house so much, but to get $50K off of the list price, we accepted their counter, opened escrow, did inspections, everything went well, got some minor things fixed, and then ended up closing escrow for $2.15 million. Now, had it not been for access to data, I wouldn't have been able to, talk to this agent about really their expectations and what would potentially happen moving forward if they had not considered dropping their price or selling the home for below list price. So having the ability to really have data in your arsenal, whether you're buying a home or an agent representing people, is extremely important in all types of negotiations. I mean, honestly, even for sellers, even if you're planning on selling your home, it's important to know what's happening in that city. And that is really why I created this platform, to give people information. There is a ton of free information on here as well. All of this is free. More of the nitty-gritty details that, kind of really dive into what's happening in the market, I have to actually pay a significant amount of money for. So as a result, I'm trying to charge the least amount of money possible. $12 a month if you want to test it out, $99 a year. You get access to all of this information below, as well as some historical data. So if you go to we'll use just Mission Viejo, you get access to data going all the way back to 2008 for pretty much everything. And then you also get these reports. If you have a pro account, you can download as many city, county reports as you'd like, or just, punch in whatever cities and counties you want. And every time I update the data, it will automatically get sent to your inbox every single month. So that's kind of, a way to use this platform to help you negotiate. You can have a look, test out the free version if you'd like. The link is in the description below or on my profile. Anaheim, for example, high demand market. We can see that inventory is down 13% year over year. Homes sold are up 21% year over year. So this is a market where demand is exceptionally high, even though pending sales are dropping, but that's very normal as we approach, the second half of the year. You really want to see that year over year homes sold up 20 up versus inventory down. That alone will give you an idea as to, where appreciation could be in any market in the near future. And then of course, you want to see investor purchases. You want to see investor buying pressure in a positive number like this, 2.13, very, very high for any city. So that's kind of it for the platform, how you can use it to help you negotiate, another tool in your arsenal, whether you're buying, selling, or a realtor representing clients. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. If you want to check out the free version, link in the description or on my profile. If you like this video, subscribe for more. I'm going to be uploading weekly videos talking about housing markets in Southern California, cities, counties, as well as, really helping people navigate these markets, as we are in a pretty weird spot in a lot of housing markets right now. I'll see you in my next video.